Use and abuse reviews, and I am back with the Tecto D2 I forgot the name. A2 Delta D2 tool steel blade automatic knife. Picked it up because I saw it on Melissa Backwood's page, and turned out after I bought it, they're made in Portland, Maine, which I grew up in that area, so that made it really cool. I'm pretty sure I've got a video somewhere already talking about this, showing everybody. I know at like $160 this would be considered like toward the high end of a budget knife, but to me this was a very expensive knife because my budget is much lower than most people's. A $50 knife I would consider like toward the high end of a budget knife. I buy $25, $30 knives. My Cold Steel $35 gigantic folding knife is like my favorite. I said I was going to beat the crap out of this knife. I haven't got to beating the crap out of this knife yet. Partly because it's expensive and I'm nervous. I feel like I should have more confidence in this knife at $160. The pocket clip has come loose. I have a screw to fix that. That's a screwdriver rather to fix that. Not really a big deal. I do think they could actually make a better pocket clip than this, and they should sell them separately. But we'll get into that in another video. But when I bought this knife, it was fairly sharp. Not as sharp as they are when I sharpen them, even kind of half-assed. But it was fairly sharp. But it picked up some chipping here somewhere along the line, and I don't know. My wife seems to really like this knife, and so I don't know if one of the things that she grabbed it and used it for did that, because all I've used it for is like cutting paper and boxes and opening things. And then the most abuse that I put this through so far, I cut the plastic straps that were holding a bundle of lumber together. I cut into some some LP Smart siding, just shaving out the corners of a cut that I had made. That's basically hard, like really hard plywood. And then I had cut some like 2-inch styrofoam. I used it at work. None of that is anything that should have chipped the edge on a cheap knife, much less $160 knife that has a D2 tool steel blade, which is supposed to be so much better than stainless steel. All the knife nerds are like, oh, stainless steel doesn't have any edge retention. I would not have worried about my Cold Steel Luzon at all doing that. So I'm gonna blame my wife. I'm gonna give Tecto the benefit of the doubt because, you know, hometown company. And say that my wife did something outrageous with it, which she swears she didn't. I've sharpened the knife. There is no more chipping or anything like that. It is much sharper than when they sent it to me. I don't expect, I know everybody else does, I don't expect a knife to come out of the barks stupid sharp. You know, make me a good knife, I'll sharpen it. That's all I'm asking. I'll sharpen it. Don't worry about that. I don't whip them out. I'm like, oh, look how sharp this is. And if it's not, then I'm like, oh, it's a piece of crap. There's more important steps to the knife making process than sharpening it. The owner can sharpen it. By the way, I only sharpened that on like a 2-sided Walmart oil stone. I have a nicer sharpening set. I haven't used that on this because this is my daily beater knife. I don't typically want to spend, it takes me like 45 minutes to sharpen these just on that one stone. You know what I mean? I'm not whipping out my 3-stone set and a friggin' strop and all of that stuff. That's a very long drawn out process. I do stuff like that when my wife and kids are out of town or I'm out of town working. And I do it to knives that I'm probably never going to use. So I haven't gotten to beating on this knife yet. If that damage was done with what I've done to this knife, and if I have put the most abuse on this knife, that's discouraging. Tecto, I'm going to say that's pretty discouraging. But that could be, like, you guys probably sharpen these on a belt, and I watched a video that somebody else did about that Walmart D2 tool steel knife, and they think that, you know, maybe the belt that sharpened it maybe it heated the blade up too much just on that edge or whatever, you know what I mean? So we'll see how this edge holds up. I'll pay more attention to what it's used for. At some point I will get around to beating on this knife, and I'm gonna be real sad if it breaks, because I do like it, but for that price I gotta know if it can take a beating, and I haven't seen anybody really put these things to work. I'm not gonna baton it through a 2x4 like I did with my Cold Steel Luzon. That was $35. But I'm gonna be pretty rough on it. You know, I'm gonna use it like it's a Smith & Wesson Special Ops $15 gas station knife, and really get into it, and I'll tell you what I think from there, and hopefully I can say all kinds of nice things about it so that you will send me more for free someday. But I don't know, maybe I'm not pretty enough to get enough views for that. We'll see.